Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to episode 80-something of the Let's Talk Game podcast. I'm that old that I've got dementia now and I can't remember episode numbers. We're in our 80s, it's fine. As long as I don't piss myself before the end of the episode, we'll be good. We've not really got too much of a stack.
That's why we shoot from the top up. We don't shoot down.
Yeah. You don't need to see what's going on down there. There's like
Jamie's benefit.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not a lot going on this week, boys, so I don't know how long of an episode we're going to have today. Chunt and I did some talk earlier this week about the Pokemons, so we'll obviously get Chunt's thoughts on that as he's been exploring Hisui. There's been a few things happen with some games getting shut down, but we're probably just going to shoot the shit for half hour, 40 minutes and see where it takes us. First off though, boys, how are we? Are we alright? Dan, we've not seen you since Chunt and I last spoke. Have you had a good week?
Yeah, good. Just still coming down from the Xbox Activision acquisition. Just stays with you, you know. But yeah, I've been fine. I've been good.
Big bit of news. And Chunt, I spoke to you like 2 days ago, but what's changed other than the fact you're playing Pokemon?
Yeah, not much, man. No, I had a nap before this, and I've got a nice coffee. So yeah, it's all right.
Jolly good. Right, well, without further ado, what have we been playing? That's where we start these things. Chunt, I know what you've been playing, and I want to leave you till last because it'll dovetail into your impressions. But Dan, played anything this last fortnight?
Yeah, I'm interested in those impressions as well. Yeah, not a lot. I started Horizon just a little bit more. The first one, getting ready for the sequel. But yeah, I started playing 2K just before this. I was playing a little bit of Madden because we're into the playoffs. The ball's only a few weeks away. So apart from that, not really that much. I literally just before we started the podcast today, I spent my $15 and got the Uncharted Legacy Collection or whatever it was. Now I just have to go try and find my free ticket to the Uncharted movie, and we'll be all set. But I think this year, as you know, I play Uncharted every year for my birthday, and this year I might actually go back to Lost Legacy. I haven't played that since it came out, and now with the PS5 upgrade and everything, I'm like, you know what, that's probably where I'll head. So getting ready for that. But yeah, love Uncharted. It is the Uncharted time of year.
Nice. Well, I'll jump in next then. I've played some different stuff this week. I played quite a lot of FIFA. I qualified for the weekend tournament for like the second time this season. I've been playing a good little bit of Pokemon myself. I think I referenced that I'd started Brilliant Diamond when we last spoke, or maybe it was when you and I did the thing, Chunt, the other day. But I'm not a big fan, to be perfectly honest. Like it felt like a bit of a grind. The stuff that they've done in that game took a lot of the challenge away. So like giving it EXP share, but not really updating anything. It's kind of common knowledge. The art style jars me, but it is one of my favorite regions. So I've kind of got through it. I'm at the Elite Four now. I need to grind, and I'm just like, I can't really be arsed. I'll do that eventually. So I restarted Sword and Shield. That happened. That's quite fun this time, and Chunt, I alluded to the fact that on Tuesday when we spoke, I think it was Wednesday, that I'd just been wonder trading to get a load of like cool baby Pokemon to start the game with, and that's kind of made it quite fun to replay through that. And obviously they level super quick because they're trades as well. So been doing a little bit of that. I played a bit of Breath of the Wild, doing some of the master quests. So I've been pretty attached to my Switch this last week or two, and I did 2 more chapters of Kenna on the PlayStation, so gradually getting through that one as well. Tried a couple of things on Game Pass. I tried out Death's Door, which is now part of Game Pass. It's quite cool. Don't know if it's really my type of game, especially with other things that are going on at the moment. I could see myself playing it, but I think there's other stuff that I want to play at the minute. Tried Rainbow Six Siege Extraction. Pile of dog piss, if you ask me. It's not really up my street. And I think there was one more thing that I did play over the last few weeks, and I cannot for the life of me remember. Oh, the Gunk. Did I mention the Gunk last time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing that. Quite like it. I think I'm in the third area of it. Chunt, you've played some of it, right? Or all of it? Did you finish it?
Yep.
I don't know how.
Finish it, no, but
Yeah, I'm a good chunk in, so I really like that. I quite like the area. I quite like what they're doing with the story and trying to investigate kind of what caused this planet to wind up how it is. It's fun experience. Enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, and I need to finish. The thing with the guitar, the dude with the guitar. I can't remember his name.
Artful Escape.
Yes, I'm on like the last level, and it's like I just need to find that hour to just do that last bit. But I do want to finish the Artful Escape as well.
It's a lot of fun. Okay.
So yeah, I've been dabbling, doing some playing. Bit of Destiny in there as well. I'm trying to really hold myself away from Destiny, knowing that Witch Queen is at the end of next month, so I'll avoid it this month as much as I can. And I've waffled for long enough, so Chunt, tell us what you've been playing. Don't start with Pokemon. Finish with Pokemon.
Oh no. Yeah. I've played a number of games, nothing much really to note, but I tried Scott Pilgrim. I bought that on sale a while back, and it's just been I've just been cutting through my backlog. And Primal, Far Cry Primal, I got a good way through that, and something happened just one week, and I was trying to play it for a few nights, and it was just a really shit week, and for some reason it just affected my enjoyment of that game, so I just uninstalled it, and I hate that. Like, I don't know if you've had that happen at all, where life has interfered with your enjoyment of a game, and you associate that emotion and that feeling you're having with a game, and you just can't play it. I don't know if you've had that, but it happens to me sometimes. So I was like, fuck, I can't play this game anymore because I'm just going to be remembering some shit, which I was disappointed because I was pretty enjoying that. So I uninstalled that, and I tried Scott Pilgrim, and it's fucking hard. It's an old school beat 'em up. I really like those kind of things, but this was ridiculous. I might just be getting old, and my reaction time's probably not as good, but graphically, like the art style, I enjoy it. Like the 8-bit kind of 16-bit, not 8-bit, what am I talking about? It's more 16 to 32-bit art style and chip tunes and stuff like that. It's very appealing. But yeah, I got a few levels in. I'm like, nah. I'm glad I didn't pay full price for it, and I just uninstalled that. I tried Gunk. I was really enjoying it too. I got up, I don't know how far you are, but I got up to this point. I won't say too much just in case, but I discovered something like a doorway that was important to the story when things start to really come together.
I'm not that far yet. I've not discovered a mad doorway. I'm in about what you consider. There's load screens. When it's like when you do the load screens, it's like you enter a new area. I'm on like the third or fourth area. So I don't think I'm quite that far.
Yeah, probably a good chunk ahead then. But yeah, I got to the point. I'm like, okay, I could see the appeal. I'm intrigued in the story, but I got to the point where I was like, I think I know what this game is now. And I was like, all right, and I checked out because I've got other games to play. And that's not a slight on the game. I was really enjoying it. Like, it's the fluid mechanics, like when you're sucking up all the gunk. I could do that all day. Like, it just looks so cool and satisfying.
It is.
Yeah, and just I was really intrigued by exploring the stuff. But I was like, all right, I know what this is, and I checked out. And what did I start playing? Oh, so I went on to Elder Scrolls Online for a bit because I bought the it was on a massive sale, like 80% off, where you can buy like everything, like all the expansion stuff up to date. And I bought that, and it was like $30, $40 or something, and you get everything. So I bought that, and I've been playing that with Sarah and having a good time. And then after that, we played some other shit anyway. But then I moved on to the Switch. I was like, I'm gonna give my Switch some love before Pokemon comes out. And I started Zelda Skyward Sword finally. 4 years later after it came out on Switch. Really enjoying it. That's coming from someone that doesn't play Zelda games. Like, I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I didn't finish Ocarina of Time back in 64 days. I got out to the Hyrule Field and got lost. Man, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Fuck this game. I rented it. I was like, fuck this game. And that was it. And I haven't gone back to play that game. I'll probably be better at it now, but back in the day, I just didn't know what I was doing. And the 64 gave me the shit, so like the controller and stuff just wasn't a good experience. Anyway, the Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game that I played after that and finished. That was the only Zelda game I ever finished and really enjoyed it. But something about Skyward Sword, I've seen all the coverage on the game the whole time, like back in the Wii days, and ever since people keep ranting on about it. And I was always intrigued by the art style and the premise of the story, how it's like a prequel or whatever, or is it like it's an origin, I guess people are saying. And I can see that playing it through now. I'm about 14 hours in, I think. I think I'm up to the third main temple. And man, I'm having a really good time. It's just such a good palate cleanser. It's a video game, you know? It's an adventure.
It's not a live service.
Yeah, and it's a video game. You know, there's puzzles and you feel smart when you figure them out, and they're not overly obtuse. It's charming. It's pretty. Like even for a Switch game that's a Wii port, it's pretty. And I don't have to worry about anything. It was such a good experience. Like I don't want to say it, but I'm enjoying this break from the Xbox. You know, I know that's blasphemy coming from me, but I'm not getting like interrupted or distracted by shit that shouldn't be in this game, you know, or like outside notifications or having online check-ins and, you know, missing content or fucking just all the bullshit that we have to deal with today. And it's been such a breath of fresh air. Like, I don't know another way to say it. And I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to finish it. I'm taking my time with it. Like I'm exploring all the nooks and crannies that I can get into and taking my time figuring out the puzzles and whatnot and just enjoying the adventure. Fucking charming game, man. I highly recommend it. The combat mechanics, I can see why people would hate it. And Sarah and I started the game at the same time, right? And I know we're still on what have we been playing, but we're padding for time. Sarah and I started playing this game at the same time, right? And we're both deviating somewhat. She likes to get everything, you know, before moving on, where I just like to plow ahead when I'm done with the place. And she's playing the motion controls and I'm playing on Pro Controller. So we're both having two separate experiences and just asking each other, like, how does it play? And she's enjoying it, but there are some parts where the motion controls are just ridiculous and like doesn't work too well. And I have similar gripes with combat when you have to get used to the flicking the stick mechanism. You're not actually like moving it manually, like to swipe. You have to get used to the flick of it in multiple directions and stuff. And it is a bit of a curve to get used to it, but once you do, it feels pretty good.
I'm pretty good at flicking a stick.
Yeah, I bet you are, mate. Yeah. I don't doubt that at all. But yeah,
as long as it's not asymmetric, you know.
Hey, man. Nothing wrong with asymmetric sticks, you know. Flick any stick you want, mate. Yes. But now that leads into like another Nintendo Switch game. My Switch is going to have a lot more playtime in the next month or two than my Switch has had all of last year, right? So Pokémon Legends Arceus, or Arceus, however you want to say it, released today. And I picked it up after work and I've been playing it for about 3 or 4 hours now. And I won't spoil anything.
Please don't.
We've all seen the trailers. I am on my way to. We've seen it in the trailers. The cleaver, you know, that golden shiny scythe-looking thing with the axes on it.
It's part of this. It's part of Scyther's evolutionary line, isn't it? It's a new part of of its evolutionary line.
Yeah. And they've just started talking about that and going to take care of him, so to speak. So that's how far I am to the game for anybody that's watching that's ahead of me. And so far, man, I'm really enjoying it. This is... I'll get some negatives out of the way. Like, it's rough, like around the edges. And I think we've all seen that. But it looks better when you're playing it than watching the trailer. And also probably depending on what TV you've got will dictate that as well. But it does look decidedly better. But man, the first thing I did when you finally get control of your character, I just did a quick look around and I was like, oof, the frames, mate. Like after coming off playing Skyward Sword at 60 frames a second to this, which is like 30, sometimes sub. It's noticeable, and I know like it's taken you years to convince me that frames matter, Jamie.
They
but
do.
They do. And yeah, it's evident in this game. Like it does. There are other games that are more graphically intensive on the Switch that function better than this does. So I don't think it's the Switch that's not capable of running this game. I think it's just the capabilities of what Game Freak's able to do. They haven't optimized their engine well for the Switch or something. I don't know. But in saying that, those experiences are few and far between so far in my 3 to 4 hours of playtime. And otherwise, it's a very charming world. It's not as pretty as Breath of the Wild, but the art style lends to how it looks well. Like they're really going for that old, like traditional ancient Japan kind of art style, brushstrokes kind of canvas look across everything. Not so as artistic as Skyward Sword, but they try. Like the trees look like they're from PS2 sometimes, but you're not really looking at the trees too much. There's pop in and shit, but it is what it is, man. I'm saying all this, but I'm still having a good time. Like gameplay wise, it's fun. Like the loop, I'm enjoying the game loop of it. I hate stealth mechanics, but this one makes me want to do it. You know, I'm actively crouching and going and making sure I'm hiding in grass to sneak behind a Pokemon to catch it. You know, like I don't normally do that in games. I like to just run in and just wreck house, you know. But the game's just gently guided me this way without me even knowing. But you can play the game just by smashing every Pokemon you come across. You can do that just fine, and you can catch Pokemon the traditional way. But I find myself more compelled to try catching them without combat, you know. And I was quite surprised by that, and I'm enjoying that. And even just that filling out the Pokedex is a lot easier than I thought as well. I completed a whole bunch of Pokemon's Pokedexes without even realizing it. When you go hand in or turn in your missions or turn in your, like when you're ready, when you're done, right? When you're done, you need to go back for resources and you go check in with your commander or whatever. When you get graded on your expedition, you know, if you want to talk Monster Hunter terms, you get all these completion notices and you don't even realize it. And the way you complete your Pokedex is by doing certain things on a checklist, like catch this Pokemon X amount of times, catch this Pokemon without being noticed, or XYZ, certain criterias. And some of those get more bonuses than others, like some are worth 2 times as much. And if you really want to get granular about it, you can. But you can go out there and have a field day across the landscape and just wrecking house on a number of Pokemon. And you've probably completed a bunch already without you even knowing. So I'm happy about that, because I was a bit worried going in, is this going to be just a grind fest of checking boxes? And it's not so far. Story's cool, man. I'm not a big Pokemon guy. Like we've talked about this. I don't know much of the Pokemon stories on all the games. I'm a Gen 1er, Pokemon X, let's go Pikachu, that's it. But I'm really enjoying the story so far that they've set up. And it's not what you think it is, which is good. I was happy about that. Like when the game started, I was like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing. And they didn't have that in the trailers at all. Like that, they didn't give that away. So I was happy about that. And I purposely avoided spoilers like you have, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
So like overall, man, like I think you're going to really enjoy it. This is the Pokemon game I've always wanted, you know, from someone like me who's avoided the property, avoided the games, and just I've almost bought a couple over the years but didn't. This one I'm glad I did, and I pre-ordered my copy, and when I got to the shop, I got my card out and they're like, so did you pre-order? And I'm like, yeah, mate. He goes, oh, good, because we sold out. So you're lucky, because we won't have any for you, and the other store the other way doesn't have any either. I'm like, oh, wow, holy shit. That's good. Like, that means it's I did hear rumblings that it was selling or pre-ordering very well. So that's really good. Because if that is the case, like if this is a success, I'm all in, man. Like if this Legends is going to be a new series or a subline of games in this kind of gameplay loop and this way of approaching Pokemon, like I'm down, man. Like this could be just my Pokemon. Like we talked about on our video the other day.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, if you have any questions, please ask me, and I can talk about it. But I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Go
No,
ahead.
I don't think I so much just got questions. I said I'll be knee deep in the experience myself shortly. Are you playing in handheld or on the TV? Are you played in different modes, or are you just pretty much confined to the TV at the minute?
I always play docked, man. Yeah.
I was just interested because, again, this will affect me more than it will you, but I've noticed even playing through the other games of the last sort of 2 weeks or so on the OLED Switch, even though the resolution isn't as good. So like my dock's behind me, it actually connects to my computer monitor. So I played a little bit on my computer monitor, and I played not handheld, actually in tabletop mode, where I've just sat it on my desk and, you know, I'm busy doing something else and just using the controller while I've been going. It's prettier on the OLED on the small screen than it is trying to run a 1080p image on the monitor, which I found really interesting. So it'd be interesting to see how this pans out. I mean, I fully anticipate that, you know, over the weekend I'll actually take my dock downstairs and play it on the big OLED TV. To get the kind of that TV experience. I think so I do have a question for you. You know, like the dive and roll mechanics and stuff. Is that bound to the A button?
No.
What's it bound to?
Roll is Y.
That's fucking stupid. So that's it's a bit weird. That's very weird.
And like to swap Pokeballs, right? Like to swap from your Pokeballs to your Pokemon is X.
But that makes sense because that's the button that you push to like swap weapons and stuff in a video game or change stuff out. That makes sense to me. But like B, like A is, let's talk Xbox controller because the Switch is the wrong way around. So you'd go like A to jump, B to roll, like X to interact with something, Y to change out your weapon or whatever you're using. That's pretty much standard. I mean, swap in and out the correct controller, so X, circle, square, triangle for you, Dan, and still A, B, X, Y, but just inverted for the Switch. The reason I ask that is because I think there's a good chance I'm going to have to roll down to the store and get a Power A make controllers with paddles on the back. I'm so used to rolling in games with paddles.
You're going to roll down to the store, and what button are we pressing to roll again?
But B, well, on a Switch controller, A.
Circle.
Circle.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I hate bad controls. You know, I've got so used to a specific control mechanism in games like this where it's like, if it doesn't follow it, it really jars me and throws me out. Like, thankfully, like, mind you, Breath of the Wild doesn't really follow a conventional control scheme either. I think Y is jump or X is jump in Breath of the Wild, and it's like, why is it not just the bottom button, like, that's nearest your stick? Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'll find out sooner than later.
Like, coming off Skyward Sword, right, where to have free camera movement, which you can do, you have to hold down L1 and then start moving your stick around so you can use it like a modern game, right? So you're walking around moving your camera. So I've come from like 14 hours of that shit, coming into this game, and I kept finding myself holding down the L1 button to move my camera around, and I'm already like, oh, the controls are already backwards a bit for me, and it was just like, wow, my brain is just like, fuck. You know,
yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends because I was like, because I've got a wireless controller for the Switch, like this random thing. Like, it's not an official one. It's just it was pretty and green. So I have a controller, but it has no paddles. So, you know, like the roll thing, because I like to just literally be able to go like that and roll around, like, so I don't actually have to move my hands off the sticks. It's how I play, like, you know, Witcher, Assassin's Creed, all of it. Like, I always use paddles on the Xbox controller. So that's why I ask, because this is more of an open world, like, RPG thing. But to be honest, if I'm going to play handheld, I'll probably just grab a... you've seen the Hori split pads, right? I had one on my old Switch. Like, they basically turn the Switch into an Xbox controller on either side, and it has got paddles on the back, so it can let you do it in handheld mode. I'll figure it out. That was why I asked that question. Cool. We've talked about Pokemon for a long time, so the last part of it that I'll probably just touch on before we move away from it completely is it's reviewing odd. I don't know if any of you have noticed this. Like Dan, I don't know if you checked out like the reviews of it, so and the Metascore and stuff. So it's getting 10s, 9s in a lot of places, which is good. Like it's great. But then by the same token, it's getting 6s and 7s, and I think a lot of that is being harshly critiqued. I've not watched any. I've looked at score numbers, but I've not watched anything because I don't want anything spoiling. I don't want any mechanics that I don't already know about spoiling or anything like that. I want to actually have an enjoyable experience and not have it kind of pre-seeded in my brain as to what's going to happen. But yeah, the 6s and 7s, I'm assuming, and it's probably going to be around performance. Chunt, as you said, it's better than you were expected, but it's still by no stretch of the imagination good even for this console. So any anecdotes to add there? I don't know if either of you have read or seen any reviews and kind of how it's performing out of the gate.
So right now on Metacritic, it's sitting at an 86, but basically there's 38 positive reviews and 3 mixed. But most of the wrap up just seems to be like it's doing something new, it's doing something different, it's trying to hold to the past of like previous Pokemon games as much as it can, and it's coming out pretty good for most people. I think just the nature of the hardware that it's on, people are going to run into small issues that they wouldn't normally run into in a bigger RPG that people are used to playing. Like if you're used to playing any of the Assassin's Creed, or you're used to playing The Witcher, or you're used to playing Horizon, any of those, these are issues that they probably don't run into as much just because of the hardware that they're on. But I think most people are pretty surprised by the quality that is coming out of it so far. There's just niggling things that are coming from.
Well, you had kind of a half segue built there, but I was going to move on next to just talk about Horizon. So we've seen that outlets have started to get hands-on this week with it, and Chunt, you said it before we even click record that you'd seen some screenshots, and it's kind of mind-blowing. I watched the developer diary. They put one out this week, didn't they? Was it like a Meet the Cast or a developer diary or something that went up this week? I watched that. And yeah, man, like I'm just catting for this game. Like how long is it? How longer do we have to wait? Like 3 weeks or something. So that should be plenty of time to get my fill of Pokemon, and then it'll be onto this.
Way. It's the problem. So I have like pushed down all excitement for it for as much as possible because I didn't want to get hyped too early, and then like remember what we were like when Cyberpunk was coming. Like we had these like huge periods of time where it's like really excited, and then like just like 3 weeks before the game came, it just started dipping, and then the reviews came out, and it just totally screwed it. So I've been just trying to push down Horizon until I know, hey, I need to go into the store and go pick up that game. And I've already taken the day off, so the Friday has already been taken off. I've got that whole weekend put aside. I'm ready for it, but it does feel like just watching those impressions and things, there are so much being added into that game. Also, things that are making things from the first game easier, so therefore quicker. But they're just adding so much into that game. I'm like, holy shit! I don't know how long this is going to take me.
I think you're going to
have to prepare myself.
Yeah, I think you're going to have, just based on what I've seen from the previous one, and obviously we know that these types of games are my favourite kind of games, like on planet Earth, and Horizon still is my favourite game of the last generation, period. But you're going to have your Breath of the Wild moment with this game. Yeah, this is going to be Dan's Breath of the Wild. Like that thing that like Chunt and I, we both had it. We both finished Breath of the Wild in different ways, and we both took, like I took far longer to do it than you did, Chunt, I think, because I was exploring and living in that world for literally like 7 days straight. I put like 80 hours in a week or something stupid. But I think, Dan, if this game doesn't give you that experience, nothing will. Just looking at what they've done with the world and the exploration, the ability to climb more of and traverse more of the world, they've even got the fucking parachute, for God's sake. Like they've nicked a lot from Breath of the Wild, and seeing like how Aloy integrates with that, and we know how good the storytelling is, we know how good Ashley Birch is, like we know how good the support cast is. Like I think it's going to be one hell of an experience. But much like yourself, Dan, I've tried where I can to, like, I watched the developer diary, like I said, but I'm not pounding coverage of it and going, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. I know what I'm going to get. It's going to be a Horizon game, and I'm interested to discover for myself how it's evolved and what these new things are. Yes, obviously we've seen the glider and we've seen the climbing stuff, but I hope there are still a bunch of secrets that they're not showing us, and that this does become the new norm. Chunt, I said to you the other day on our Pokemon episode of Downloading Soon, I've really enjoyed not getting told everything about this game. Like I know we were kind of critiquing it a few weeks ago, going like, why on earth are they not saying anything about this? This is weird, because we've been taught to go, if they don't tell you everything about it, that means they're scared and there's something wrong. But in a way, it seems for now, if you sat pretty on an 86 on Metacritic, the general reception's been very good. So we don't always have to see and hear everything, and I hope that Horizon does take a leaf out of that and doesn't really ramp it up in the next few weeks and start showing us all corners of the world, all of the secret armor that you can unlock. I don't want to know. I want to just go find it. Do you know what I mean? So like that's where I am on Horizon. Chunt, obviously you I don't think you can even buy a PlayStation if you wanted to in Australia at the moment. But what's your feeling of the coverage you've seen?
Yeah, pretty minimal, man. I expected more. This is the tentpole PlayStation title due to the success of the first one, and I own the first game as well. It's just another one that I haven't played yet. It's in my PSN. I'll play it eventually. Like, I really want to play it, man. I really do. Like, the first game still looks good. So does God of War. Like, I know we talked about it recently, and like, yeah, it might look a little dated now in some aspects, but it still looks freaking great. I can't wait to play those games. But this one, man, I'm blown away. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to play it anytime soon, but fuck, I really want to. It looks beautiful as hell. Like a mate of mine, Lucas from the Age channel, Aussie Gamers Experience, he posted a few screenshots, and he's like, I can't tell if this is CG or in-game or cosplay. Like, the graphics for this game look so good, and I was like, fuck, yeah, he's right. Like, they just look so good. I'm curious, like morbidly curious to see how this game looks on PS4. Because there's no way it looks like that. But then I could be very much surprised because there's been some magic happened on the PS4 that I don't know how. They squeezed some shit out of that console that just shouldn't happen. But
they did put out they put out a trailer for the PS4 Pro. They showed what it looked like on the Pro, and
did they?
Yeah, it looks pretty ridiculous. But yeah, base level. Sorry to cut you off, but they have put it out for the Pro.
No, you're right. All good. I hope it's good, man. Like, I know this has a pretty fervent fan base for this game, and I do wish it the success and that everybody gets what they want out of it. And it looks like it's going to be another winner. And Sony's IP is very strong, like with these kind of games, which is great. And I hope it's another adventure that people take away some positive experiences, and it's not a disappointment. That's what I want, all the good things for it, because I'm going to play it eventually, and I want those things. And it's going to be refreshing to see yet another game that hopefully just isn't bogged down by all the shit that I keep complaining about that's in all the games these days, I don't know if the first game is. Like, I think it's just its own standalone experience, right? Besides the DLC expansion. There's no bullshit of microtransactions or like grinding for
none of that. No.
None of that?
Wow. I think the only thing I've heard from this sequel is that battles in and there's a leaderboard, and that's the only thing that I've talked about.
That's fine, whatever. Well, that's good. That's really great. I hope more games take that in future. Like, I think we learnt a lot last generation, from 2013 onwards to maybe 2019, 2020, on what games shouldn't be doing. People just don't want this shit. Yeah, they might make oodles of money, but there's no longevity in it, And it's not just me. And I know there's a lot of people that love those kind of games because it's just an always-on game, and there's always new shit coming into the game and stuff. But just playing Zelda and some recent news that's come out, oh man, it's just really made me realize, like, this is what games should be, an experience unto itself, and a story to be told, and a world to explore that doesn't infringe on your private enjoyment of it, that a lot of games do these days, where you can't just play and explore a world that isn't padded out with so much bullshit in it and just doesn't have content locked away somewhere to be released later, or there's nonsensical side quests that just don't need to be there because it's padding for time, or you've got like an oodles of markers on a map that you're just never going to get to, all that shit. Like, yeah, Zelda might have some of that. There's side quests in Zelda that I'm finding out, but they're natural. Yeah, and there's a story in there along the way, and it's not like go to waypoint, go to waypoint, go to waypoint. You got to figure it out in the world, and there's a story to be told, and you have to pay attention. I'm really enjoying it, man. I hope we get more of that. And if Horizon is something like that, cool. We bring it on, more of it. And I think if you do lean on the talent to tell a good story in a competent game that doesn't need to survive on expansions and DLCs and all this bullshit, you're gonna sell games, man. You're gonna sell games. Like, fuck, Zelda isn't a graphically impressive game, and that game sold millions, and it's just like the other article that we read out today that made people go and scoffed a bit, and it's like, well, not surprised, or like, what game was that? Like the old Cliff Blazinski game, Lawbreakers, that crashed and burned because it was trying to be another hero shooter live service. And now we've got, that was years ago, but now we've got another one that just flew under the radar completely. That hyperspace game that everybody almost unanimously was like, what game was that?
There's Battleborn from Gearbox a few years ago. Only lasted about 18 months as well.
Yes. Yep.
Over and over again.
There's heaps of them, man. And it's just like Fortnite is king on it, and it just had a load of pretenders. Destiny 2, I wouldn't really count in there because it is narrative heavy and has a universe that's built on itself. It's not just a soulless cash grab of a hero shooter loot box generating bullcrap. So I wouldn't include it in that. But there's so many others that are, and I had to laugh. And like I'm saying, I think a lot of developers and publishers learnt a lot last generation on banking on such a service, because we've heard it a million times from other creators on YouTube saying there's only X amount of time for X amount of games, and not every game is going to say, we want all of your time, and people are going to start saying no. And that's what people are doing by the sounds, and just stopping playing these games. Like, what? How does it? Huh?
No, keep going. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, how does, I can go on and on. I just need to learn when to stop. But like, how do these games survive when the audience and players go? They just don't. And you can't bank on people staying there when you've got every game doing the same thing, vying for your attention. When you have games like God of War, Zelda, and Horizon, I assume, and Mario, like shit like that, where I personally have replayed games like that a number of times. I've gone back forward because I want that experience again and that story again. But these live services games, I couldn't give two shits because you don't get that. And you can't, because it's not built that way. Like, how do you have those experiences when it's purposely built to keep you there? Just dribs and drabs and to suck your money. Like, I can't wait to see it go. Like, we've talked about this shit for years, and Jamie, I know, like, you play a lot of games that are like this, and you like that cycle, that loop and stuff, which is fine. But fuck me, like, every game, really? No, I've had enough. And like, I'll just get off my soapbox for a little bit and let someone else speak. I'm stopping myself now.
Well, I was just going to say that I feel like people have, but I don't think publishers necessarily have learnt yet. Like, look at what Ubisoft is. They're closing this game down, but look what they're doing over in Assassin's Creed on the other end of it, like creating the Infinity or whatever it's going to be, Like, I don't think they necessarily learnt. There was that thing from a couple of weeks ago from Techland, who are releasing Dying Light 2, and part of their marketing was to beat this game is going to take you 500 hours. And everyone's like, I don't want to spend 500 hours in a game. And
everybody laughed.
And they had to like retract. And they're like, oh, no. That's if you want to do everything. The game itself will only take you like 20 hours or whatever. So I don't think a lot of publishers still have learnt that that's not your sell. That should not be your selling point in any part of your marketing. Is the game is this long?
Well, that in itself was a learning experience, like you just said. Like they said, yeah, 500 hours, and everybody goes, fuck no, thank you very much, and they go, oh no, what we meant to say, to kind of damage control a bit. That was a learning experience because they thought, yeah, let's say we've got 500 hours in this shit, because that's what the old way was. Like last generation was like, oh, how long can we stretch this shit out? And now people are like, no.
Doesn't that also give you like indication that that game is going to be full of padded shit?
Yep.
Like so much padding.
Yeah, but
if the game's beaten in 20 hours.
Turning a ship takes a long time, man. So this game's been in development for years, right? So it's not like it becomes a point when you've been developing these games for 3 or 4 years and you go, shit, people don't want this anymore. Too late. We just have to finish it, And I'm saying like the next cycle from these developers, once they've moved on from this shit and go, what did we learn from this, people? Let's not do that again. I'm hoping for that. Maybe I'm just being a bit optimistic, but fuck, I want that to happen so bad. Yes.
Jamie, final thoughts?
Something that type of game in general just doesn't appeal to me. The whole survival thing at all. But yeah, the 500 hours thing I thought was pretty daft. Like, don't get me wrong. I guess that people will know they get their money's worth if they're really into it and they are completionists of these types of games. That's mad kind of value for money. Do you know what I mean? Like 500 hours I think is my PC clock time for Destiny 2. So do you know what I mean? Like that's a long time. Happy for them, but yes, it's not my cup of tea. They did say, what was it, like 35 hours to actually beat the game, and it's like, but if you want to do everything, there's like up to 500 hours, and it's like but even Chunt, when you were talking about how long to beat Skyward Sword, notoriously one of the lengthier Zelda games, because it's got heaps of like, it's not backtracking, but it's like revisiting areas you've already been to kind of unlock other doors, and it's very puzzle Zelda type padding, which Breath of the Wild didn't really have. Twilight Princess didn't really have it either, so they flow a lot better, but you know what I mean. So 35 hours for something like that, you can appreciate kind of that time investment, and we do need to see that games respect our time more. Like we massively do. So yeah, that's my final thought on it. Just be more respectful of people's time. I don't want to spend 9 million hours playing a video game. Don't have the time for it. I very much want to experience video games, but I don't have the time for that kind of thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And on that note, my lunch break is over. It's getting late for you boys. Chunt, go find that big Snorlax. Dan,
oh yeah, keep
twiddling your thumbs till Horizon comes out, and we will.
I'll just go snore.
And that. Oh yeah, go snore. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. As to whether we have any intermittent content before the next podcast, that remains to be seen. But thanks for watching. Click the subscribe button if you have watched. This is a premiere that you're watching. Maybe we're going to do that again because it worked really well for us the other day. And we'll see you in a few weeks. Thanks, boys.
Good lose.
Yep.